For today's lesson in 2-5, we have adding decimals. There's only a couple of steps for adding decimals. And step 1 is to write the numbers and line up your decimals. So what does that look like? Well, if I'm adding 21 and 49 hundredths, and I'm going to add it to 21 and 59 hundredths, I want to make sure that my decimal places are lined up in the exact same spot. So I have my two decimals and they're lined up perfectly. Step 2 is going to be to bring the decimal straight down. So again, I have 21 and 49 hundredths, and I'm adding it to 21 and 59 hundredths. My decimals are lined up. I'm going to bring it straight down. The decimal comes straight down in the problem. And now step 3 is just going to be to add the numbers like normal. And you will regroup if it is necessary. So 21 and 49 hundredths plus 21 and 59 hundredths. My decimals are lined up from step 1. I brought the decimal down from step 2. And step 3 is to just add. So 9 plus 9 is 18. I'm going to write the 8 and regroup the 1. 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 5 more is 10. So I write down my 0 and regroup my 1. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. And 2 plus 2 is 4. So my final answer is 43 and 8 hundredths. Let's look at another example. If I have 0 and 13 hundredths, I'm going to add it to 1 and 2 tenths. First thing I do is line up my decimals. I'm not going to put the 2 underneath the 3 because they're in different places. The 3 is in the hundredths, the 2 is in the tenths place. So I make sure my decimals are lined up. Step 2, I'm going to bring that decimal straight down. And step 3, I'm going to add. Well, there's nothing underneath the 3 to add. But I know after any decimal number, I can always add a 0 or a ghost 0. So there's my ghost 0, and 3 plus 0 is 3. 1 plus 2 is 3, and 0 plus 1 is 1. Now this next part you don't have to write down, but I want to show you what it would look like with a hundredths grid. So here are my hundredths grid. I'm going to start off with my first number. I have 13 hundredths, so I'm going to color in 13. 13 of the hundredths are colored in, and I'm going to add 1 whole and 2 tenths, or 1 whole and 20 hundredths. Same thing. So 1 whole, I'm going to color in the whole hundredths grid, and I'm going to add 20 more to my 13. So I'm going to color in 20 more, and now my final answer is 1 whole colored in and 33 hundredths on the other side. The green and the red together are 33. So my final answer shows 1 and 33 hundredths. Now what if I just have a whole number like 12 without a decimal, and I'm going to add it to 3 and 47 hundredths. How do I line up the decimal? After any whole number, there's always a decimal, even if it's not written. So I know I can write 12 and put a decimal behind it. And now I have decimals to line up. So I can write my 3, line up my decimal, and 47 hundredths. And I can add these like normal. And just like before, there's nothing after my 12, but because it's past the decimal, I can always add my ghost zeros. So my decimals are lined up, bring my decimal down, add my ghost zeros. 0 plus 7 is 7. 0 plus 4 is 4. I already have my decimal. 3 plus 2 is 5, and 1 plus nothing is 1. So my final answer is 15 and 47 hundredths.